Feed me. 2 words, 9 letters, and the most famous thing a plant has ever said. What you're looking at right now is one of the most improbable success stories in the history of American cinema. A film made in 2 days, literally 2 days and one night, on a budget smaller than most people's first car. A film its director didn't even bother to copyright because he figured it would make its money on the double bill and disappear. A film starring nobody in particular, written while its creators were drunk, and shot on sets that were being torn down the very next morning. And it became a Broadway musical. And then a Hollywood film with a $25 million budget and a cast full of comedy legends. And it is still being performed on stages around the world right now. This is the story of The Little Shop of Horrors. Both of them. The original 1960 Roger Corman masterpiece of accidental brilliance, and the 1986 Frank Oz musical that blew it up into something enormous and strange and wonderful. Today, we're going all the way through both films, everything in between, every secret behind the production, every casting story, every disaster, every triumph. And at the end, a reminder about what the 1960 film actually is legally, which matters more than you might think. Let's go. Part 1. The 1960 original. A passionate people eater. To understand how The Little Shop of Horrors got made, you have to understand Roger Corman. Born April 5th, 1926, in Detroit, Michigan, and still alive and still working at the time of his passing in May 2024, in his late 90s, Roger Corman was the most efficient filmmaker who ever lived. He was called the King of the Bees, the Pope of pop cinema. He built a career on the radical idea that low-budget genre films could be made intelligently, quickly, and profitably. And then he proved it, over and over, for 7 decades. Corman worked primarily with American International Pictures, AIP, the same studio that would later give Larry Buchanan his Azalea Pictures deal. But where Buchanan made his AIP films at $35,000 apiece, Corman was operating at a different level. He wasn't just making product, he was making art on a deadline. His films were faster, smarter, stranger, and funnier than they had any right to be. By 1959, Corman had developed a team of regular collaborators, actors, and crew who could work fast because they'd worked with him before. The core group included Jonathan Hayes, Jackie Joseph, Mel Wells, and Dick Miller, all veterans of the Corman stable. They knew the rhythms, they could deliver a scene in one take if needed. And in late 1959, Corman found himself with an opportunity that was completely insane, even by his standards. He just finished shooting A Bucket of Blood, a dark comedy about a talentless busboy who accidentally becomes a celebrated sculptor by covering dead bodies in clay. Corman was given access to the sets from that film before they were torn down, access that expired in 2 days. 2 days. Most directors would have walked away. Corman did not walk away. He called up his screenwriter Charles B. Griffith, with whom he shared a bond cemented, apparently, by shared beverages, and they started talking about what you could shoot in 2 days on those sets. Corman initially had ideas about a detective story. Griffith had other ideas. Griffith had been thinking about a story called Gluttony, a chef who starts cooking customers. The production code made that impossible. So he pushed the concept further. How about a man-eating plant, he said, and Corman said okay. According to Griffith's own recollection, by that time we were both drunk. The screenplay was written under the working title, The Passionate People Eater. Jackie Joseph, who would play Audrey in the film, later recalled being told it was a detective movie. And then, while flying back to Los Angeles to shoot it, she found out that it had been completely rewritten into something horror-adjacent over the weekend. She arrived on set to find a man-eating plant instead of a mystery. It sounds like she still found a mystery. The cast rehearsed for 3 weeks, surprisingly long runway given the actual shoot time. On January 1st, 1960, new union rules were set to take effect that would require producers to pay actors residuals for all future releases of their work. According to Jackie Joseph, this was part of why Corman was in such a hurry. He needed to buy out his actors' performances in perpetuity before the rules changed. So, principal photography was compressed into 2 days and one night, shot at the end of 1959 using the A Bucket of Blood set with multiple cameras running simultaneously, two camera crews pointed in opposite directions to capture both angles of a scene at once, then supplemented with additional pickup shots to make it flow. The entire thing cost approximately $28,000. The Little Shop of Horrors was born.
You'll wrap them in a package and you'll take them to Dr. Farr, right? Well, go already! Now, what can I do for you, sir?
My name is Burson Fudge.
Excellent. I am Gravis Mushnick.
Oh, that's a good one.
Now, who's going to get my roses?
I'll take care of you, Mrs. Shelved. Come right over here.
You would like maybe some orchids for a nice girl?
No, I think I'd like a couple of dozen carnations.
The film opens with one of the great establishing shots of 1960s B cinema. A slow, illustrated panorama of downtown Los Angeles' Skid Row, impossibly detailed in pen and ink, introducing us to the world we're about to enter. It's playful and strange right from the first frame. The film is announcing that it knows exactly what it is and doesn't apologize for any of it. We're introduced to Gravis Mushnick's flower shop, a struggling enterprise on a failing street corner. Mushnick himself is a harried, put-upon small business owner whose shop is barely staying alive, who employs two assistants who are of various kinds of disaster.
They are all right?
Well, I've had better.
Seymour Krelborn, played by Jonathan Hayes,
You know, those big places,
awkward,
they're full of pretty
eager,
flowers, expensive
sweet,
flowers.
chronically unlucky, secretly brilliant with plants, hopelessly in love with his co-worker. Seymour is the heart of the film. He's the kind of character that only works when the actor genuinely commits to him without condensation. Condescension. And Hayes does exactly that. Seymour isn't a punchline, he's a person. A slightly sad, slightly desperate, deeply good person who makes increasingly terrible decisions. Audrey, not yet Audrey 2, just Audrey, played by Jackie Joseph. Audrey is sweet, bubbly, and not particularly worldly, but she's genuine in her affections and her cheerfulness. And Joseph gives her a warmth that anchors the film. This is important to note because the 1986 film makes a big deal of Audrey's vulnerability and damaged self-image, elements that are much simpler and lighter in the original. And then there are the peripheral characters, and this is where the film gets genuinely weird and gritty.
Give him a chance to quit. I ain't gonna quit. You're a brave boy. You're fired.
But that ain't fair, Mr. Mushnick. You know what I'm doing? I'm working on a special surprise plant just for you. I'm growing a plant like you ain't never seen before.
Excellent. I can't even sell the plants I got in my shop. Out, you.
Now, wait a minute.
Mel Wells as Gravis Mushnick. Mel Wells was regular in Corman's repertory company, and as Mushnick is one of the funniest performances in the film. He plays the character with a Turkish-Jewish accent and mannerisms that he developed himself. Wells was Jewish and felt the humor was playful rather than offensive. The character speaks in a particular rhythm that's part Borscht Belt, part immigrant shopkeeper, all Corman. His long-suffering aspiration with Seymour's various disasters provides the film's most consistent comedic engine. AIP initially refused to distribute the film, citing concerns that the character of Mushnick and character named Sidel Shiva would be read as anti-Semitic. Wells disagreed, and history has sided with him. The film's Jewish humor is affectionate, rooted in the specific cadences of urban working-class Jewish life, and plays as homage rather than mock. Dick Miller, Burson Fouch. Dick Miller was one of Corman's most beloved actors. The compact, fast-talking character player who could do anything. He was offered the lead role of Seymour and turned it down. Instead, he took one of the film's great running joke parts, Orson Phelps, a man who comes into the flower shop and eats the flowers. Not figuratively, he walks in, he browses, he selects a flower, he eats it. Every visit, this is played completely straight by Miller, which is what makes it work. He actually ate the flowers during production. In later years, Miller would prove it at interviews by chomping down on a flower in front of stunned reporters. Dick Miller was a man who committed. The detectives, Sergeant Joe Fink and Officer Frank Stool. Two of the most underrated running gags in the entire film. Sergeant Fink and Officer Stooley, that is what his name is, Stooley, function as the Greek chorus of Little Shop of Horrors. Two cops who are investigating the suspicious disappearances connected to Mushnick's shop, but who treat every horror with complete affectedless deadpan. Their dialogue is pure dark comedy. Fink, how are the kids? Stooley, lost one yesterday. Fink, lost one, eh? How'd that happen? Stooley, playing with matches. Fink, well, those are the breaks. And then they move on. The absurdist logic of the film means that every horrible event is treated as mildly inconvenient and unremarkable. The cops exist to undercut the horror and make it safe to laugh at things you probably shouldn't laugh at. It's extraordinarily skillful dark comedy writing from Griffith. The Dentist, Dr. Phoebus Farr. The 1960 film has its own version of the dentist scene, predating the famous masochistic patient sequence. The dentist in the original is played for broad, different gags than the 1986 remake. He's incompetent rather than sadistic, and the visit is important because it's where Seymour, suffering a toothache, accidentally kills the dentist and has his first accidental human body to feed to his growing plant. But it's the patient who takes the dentist's chair next who matters most.
This morning when I went to work, I wish I knew what to do with it.
Well, if you ask me, I'd pitch it out in the trash. I don't like my house cluttered up with rotten vegetables.
Look, Ma, I gotta hurry. Can I bring you anything?
Oh, yeah. Bring me the evening news. They're running a self-diagnosis contest.
Here is one of cinema history's greatest accidents. At the time of filming The Little Shop of Horrors, Jack Nicholson was 22 years old. He had appeared exactly 2 films, The Cry Baby Killer for Corman, and Too Soon to Love. He was not famous. He was not on anyone's radar. He was a young actor in the Corman obit who needed the work. Nicholson wanted the lead role of Seymour. Corman said no. He didn't think Nicholson was experienced enough for it. Instead, Nicholson landed a smaller part, Wilberforce, a masochistic dental patient who visits the dentist's office after the dentist himself has already been accidentally killed. And Nicholson made a decision that explains exactly who he is as an actor. I went into the shoot knowing it had to be very quirky, Nicholson said later, because Roger originally hadn't wanted. In other words, I couldn't play it straight, so I just did a lot of weird shit that I thought would make it funny. Wilberforce sits in the dentist's chair with mounting excitement as the instruments are brought out. He wants pain. He is disappointed when the pain doesn't come. He leaves the dentist's office having experienced genuine suffering, and he is thrilled. This is played by Nicholson with a complete commitment to the character's deranged logic. A wide-eyed enthusiasm for dental torture that is one of the funniest and most disturbing things in the film. The scene takes less than 5 minutes. Jack Nicholson is on screen for less than 5 minutes in this film. When Nicholson became a massive star after Easy Rider, 1969, Chinatown, 1974, and eventually One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest, 1975, the home video releases of The Little Shop of Horrors were repackaged with his name prominently featured. The film, Corman didn't think warranted or copyright, was now being marketed on the back of one of the most famous actors alive.
If you can noise it back to Elk, you both can stay. If you can't, you're both fired.
Oh, gee, thank you, Mr. Mushnick.
Don't feel sad, Seymour.
Don't waste your pity on me, Audrey. I'm not worth it.
Who says you're not?
Everybody.
Yeah, I know.
The plant Audrey Jr., named after Seymour's co-worker and secret love, is the film's real star, and the creation of Audrey Jr. is one of the great low-budget practical effects achievements of 1960s cinema. To track the plant's growth on a tiny budget, the production used a simple but clever trick. The smallest version of the plant was placed on a dolly track hidden beneath its flower pot. When the camera rolled, the plant was slowly pushed towards the lens, making it appear to grow larger. Different physical props were built for the different stages of the plant's growth. The plant's voice, that famous, demanding, imperious voice, was provided by screenwriter Charles B. Griffith himself, who also played the robber in the film. The voice he gives Audrey Jr. is deep, languorous, entitled, and faintly comedic. It's the voice of an entity that knows exactly what it wants and sees nothing wrong with that. Feed me. The concept is perfect for a low-budget film. A monster that never needs to move very fast, that can stay in one place for most of the film, that communicates primarily through voice. You don't need expensive effects for a plant. You need a pot, some foam rubber, and Charles Griffith's voice.
Here, let me move this out of your way so you can breathe. Ow! Ow, 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 ow! Hey, what happened? How come you woke up? Blood? You like blood? Oh, you must be kidding.
The plot of The Little Shop of Horrors proceeds with the specific logic of a dark comedy. Everything is terrible, nothing makes sense, and everyone behaves as if the horrible thing is just slightly inconvenient. Seymour has created a hybrid plant by cultivating several different species. The plant is unusual, dying, and nothing he feeds it seems to help. Until he accidentally pricks his finger and discovers that the plant responds to blood. His blood. And then, when he accidentally kills a man on a railroad track and feeds the body to the plant, it responds to that too. Dramatically. The plant grows, flowers. The shop becomes famous. Mushnick, who secretly observed Seymour feeding the plant the body, makes a calculated decision. He knows what's happening, and he says nothing because the shop is finally making money. The moral transaction at the center of Little Shop of Horrors is this. We'll all look the other way from a terrible thing as long as it benefits us. This is pointed satire. Corman and Griffith were making a film about complicity dressed up in creature feature clothes. The murders that follow are almost all accidental or at least involuntary. Seymour is not a monster. He's a person in over his head who can't stop what he started. The dentist dies because Seymour bites him in fear during a dental procedure. A robber who attempts to hole up the shop is fed to the plant by Mushnick as a self-preservation measure. Each death compounds the situation. Each escalation seems to happen just one step beyond where Seymour could have still gotten out. The film ends, in the original, with Seymour climbing into the plant and a final self-sacrifice, and the plant's flowers opening to reveal his face within them. It's dark, unexpected, and somehow deeply satisfying.
Thousands of them. And we're on the committee that picks the florist and then glues on the flowers.
Gee, that sure is a mad plant.
Wow, yeah. Seymour here invented it.
He did.
Thousands of girls, please don't damage the horticulturist. Tell me, how come you don't buy all these thousands?
The Little Shop of Horrors is genuinely funny in a way that's very specific to a particularly comedic tradition. The humor is rooted in Yiddish-inflected absurdism. Mushnick's specific cadences, Seymour's mother, and her hypochondria, played by screenwriter Griffith's own grandmother, Myrtle Vale, who was also a writer and radio personality. The whole milieu of a failing ethnic neighborhood business where survival requires constant compromise. Deadpan escalation. The detectives, the very way every new horror is treated as banal. So goes on. The shop stays open. Business is business. Character-based weirdness. Dick Miller's flower-eating customer, the parade of eccentric plant enthusiasts who come to view Audrey Jr. as she grows. There's a whole society of flower observers who come to evaluate the plant and give Seymour an award. The world of this film is populated by people who each have their own completely specific, completely absurd preoccupations. The gap between what's being said and what's happening. This is the film's fundamental comic engine. People discuss the most terrible things in the most mundane possible register. Variety called it a one big sick joke that was essentially harmless and good-natured. That's exactly right. The darkness is there, but it's always diffused by the warmth of the performances and the genuine affection for these characters that comes through.
Stop shouting! My Uncle Moshe's brother Yankel just passed away, Tenafly, New Jersey. Tell me, how much are the carnations today?
The carnations are $600 a dozen.
And why are they letting him run around loose?
Please excuse my son, Mrs. Shiver. Just point to anything in the store and it is yours.
Corman did not think The Little Shop of Horrors was going to be particularly significant. He made it to use the sets. He made it to beat the union rules. He made it because he could not make it when there were 2 free days and an empty camera. And then he did something that sealed its fate as public domain film and, paradoxically, as cult legend. He didn't copyright it. According to multiple accounts, Corman simply didn't believe the film had sufficient financial prospects beyond its initial run to warrant the formality of copyright registration. He didn't renew what copyright did exist within the initial 28-year window. The copyright in the film expired, and as confirmed in court documents from a 1990s legal dispute between subsequent right holders, the film entered the public domain when its copyright was not renewed. It expired in 1988. Wikimedia Commons lists the determination as no copyright due to missing copyright notice. This decision, made by a man who thought he was just dispensing with paperwork, accidentally gave the film eternal life. Because public domain status means the film could be broadcast on local television stations for free. And it was. Constantly. Throughout the 1960s and 70s, Little Shop of Horrors played on late-night television across America, available to any station that wanted to fill a slot. That's how it became a cult film. Not through theatrical releases, not through promotional campaigns, through the accidental democracy of public domain broadcasting. Generations of insomniac teenagers watched it on TV at 2 a.m. and never forgot it. And one of those teenagers was a young man in Baltimore named Howard Ashman, who watched the film as a kid and quietly filed away the idea that this strange, dark, funny little movie about a plant was the most perfect thing he had ever seen.
I got a talking plant. Say it again.
Me.
Oh, boy. I never been to college and I ain't been around much. But I'd have been willing to bet there ain't no such thing as a talking plant. But I'll take your word for it. Gee, Junior, I'd like to feed you. But I used up all my...
Howard Ashman was born May 17, 1950, in Baltimore, Maryland. He fell in love with musical theater as a child, studied at Goddard College and Boston University, earned his MFA from Indiana University, and moved to New York in 1974 to pursue a career in theater. By the late 1970s, Ashman had become co-artistic director of the Workshop of the Players Art Foundation, the WPA Theater, a small off-Broadway theater company operating out of a 98-seat space in Manhattan. The WPA was the kind of theater company that existed to take risks, to produce work that was too weird or too small for the commercial mainstream. Alan Menken was born July 22, 1949, in New Rochelle, New York. He came from a musical family and loved Broadway from childhood, but had spent the late 1970s writing commercial jingles and performing in local New York City clubs while trying to break through in musical theater. He was working as a commercial jingle writer, not exactly where he planned to end up. At the suggestion of composer Maury Yeston, Ashman and Menken were introduced to each other. They collaborated on a musical adaptation of Kurt Vonnegut's God Bless You, Mr. Rosewater for the WPA, and the collaboration worked well enough to continue. Then Ashman started thinking about that movie. It took the WPA Theater a full year to secure the rights to Roger Corman's film. Corman's lawyers agreed to assign the rights to the WPA for a stage adaptation, and for about 8 months, Ashman and Menken wrote the show. Ashman wrote that they finished it properly in about 8 weeks once they found the right approach. And what was that approach? Ashman had a very specific vision. He wrote in his introduction to the acting edition of the libretto, Little Shop of Horrors satirizes many things: science fiction, B-movies, musical comedy itself, and the Faust legend. There will, therefore, be a temptation to play it for camp and low comedy. This is a great and potentially fatal mistake. He went on. The actors should play it with simplicity, honesty, and sweetness, even when events are at their most outlandish. The show's style would come from the sincerity of the performance, not from winking at the audience about how ridiculous everything was. This is the insight that made the musical work. You can feel the affection for these characters every time it's performed well. And just a side note, that's one of the things that everybody's complaining about consistently now. It's that everybody's constantly winking to the camera going, hey, look, I'm breaking the fourth wall. Like, we know, we don't care. For the music, Menken and Ashman chose a sound rooted in the early 1960s. Doo-wop, R&B, rock and roll, early Motown. They wanted the show to feel like its film inspiration. 1960, Skid Row, specific texture of that era. Ashman described it as the dark side of Grease. You can feel the affection for these characters every time it's performed well. They added something the original film didn't have: a trio of narrator characters, 3 young women in the style of Supremes or Ronettes' Street Corner Act, Crystal, Ronette, and Chiffon. These 3 characters comment on the action from the outside, bridging scenes, providing Greek chorus exposition, and lending the show a kind of Motown girl group energy that became one of the most distinctive elements. Basically, they replaced the cops. They also added the songs that would define these characters forever. Skid Row, Downtown, gives us the setting and the yearning. Somewhere That's Green gives Audrey her inner life, a heartbreaking dream of domestic normalcy. A White Picket Fence, a world away from the boyfriend who hurts her. Feed Me, Get It, gives the plant its personality. Suddenly Seymour becomes one of the most purely beautiful love songs in modern musical theater.
Now, that is what I call a salad. What do you call that salad?
Caesarean.
Well, before the next course, I think I'll have a nice cigar. All right? You would like maybe a cigar? You don't smoke cigars. What am I thinking about? Better than matches.
The musical had its world premiere at the WPA Theater on May 6th, 1982. It played 24 performances there in a 98-seat theater. And it was immediately, obviously, special. After just those 24 performances, producers lined up to transfer the show. It moved to the Orpheum Theater on July 27, 1982, a much larger off-Broadway house in East Village. The Audrey II puppets were designed by Martin P. Robinson, who happened to be exactly the right person for the job. When Ashman contacted him, Robinson shouted, "Oh my God, that's my favorite movie! I saw it when I was a little kid and dreamed for years about designing that plant. I have dozens of sketches I've already done." They had found their puppet designer. For the voice of Audrey II, the show needed something big, warm, funky, and New Orleans inflected. They found Ron Taylor, a powerful vocalist whose performance gave Audrey II the charisma to be a genuine villain and star simultaneously. Ellen Greene played Audrey. She was young, relatively unknown, and she gave the character a specific quality, a mixture of fragility and resilience, a breathy speaking voice that transformed into something astonishing when she sang. That was entirely her own creation. Stephen Sondheim sent Ashman a note calling the show a display of style, wit, and delight. That note is now in the Library of Congress. The production ran for 5 years. When it closed on November 1st, 1987, after 2,209 performances, It was the third longest running musical in off-Broadway history and the highest grossing off-Broadway production of all time. The producers were the WPA Theater, David Geffen, Cameron McIntosh, and the Schubert Organization. Though a Broadway transfer was proposed, Howard Ashman felt the show belonged exactly where it was, a scrappy, intimate, off-Broadway production that fit the material. The intimacy of the Orpheum, close proximity of that plant to the audiences, was part of the experience. The show was not eligible for Tony Awards because it wasn't on Broadway. It won instead the 1982 to 1983 New York Drama Critics Circle Award for Best Musical, plus Drama Desk and Outer Critics Circle Award. London's West End production opened in October 1983, with Ellen Greene reprising Audrey, and ran 813 performances, winning the Evening Standard Award for Best Musical. Little Shop of Horrors had become one of the most produced musicals in the world. High schools and community theaters everywhere discovered that its small cast, manageable demands, and spectacular central prop made it practical for almost any venue. The seed from Corman's 28,000 trash masterpiece had grown into something that had belonged to the whole world.
You wouldn't be interested in selling a half interest.
By 1986, Little Shop of Horrors, the musical, was a phenomenon. It was a natural film adaptation target, and the person who got the job was someone with an extremely specific set of skills. Frank Oz, born Frank Richard Osnowitz on May 25, 1944, in Hereford, England, is best known to the world as the man behind Fozzie Bear, Miss Piggy, Animal, Cookie Monster, Bert, and Grover. He's the voice of Yoda. He is one of the most important figures in the history of puppetry and performance art in the 20th century. But by 1986, Oz had also established himself as a film director. The Dark Crystal, 1982, with Jim Henson, was a landmark in puppet filmmaking. The Muppets Take Manhattan, 1984, was a commercial success, and now producer David Geffen, who had been part of the original off-Broadway production, wanted Oz to translate the musical to the screen. Oz had a clear philosophy for how to approach it. He was walking a razor's edge. If we played it too camp, the audience wouldn't care about the characters. If we were too straight, we'd veer towards melodrama. He wanted, in his own words, to make a film about a boy, a girl, and a man-eating plant. Nothing more complicated than that. The production was shot in England at Pinewood Studios, which Oz insisted on based on his extensive prior work there with Jim Henson. Producer David Geffen wanted to shoot in Los Angeles. Oz, according to accounts, basically stood his ground until Geffen relented. The budget was enormous by standards of anyone connected to the original 1960 film, approximately $25 million. For reference, the 1960 film cost $28,000. That's a multiplier of roughly 900.
Thanks, boy.
Gravis, we've got to order more flowers. Tons of them.
I'm making lots of money.
Rick Moranis, Seymour Krelborn. Rick Moranis was, in 1986, one of the most beloved comic actors in America. Coming off Ghostbusters, 1984, as the nerdy accountant Louis Tully, and Spaceballs, already in production, Moranis was at the peak of his particular brand of lovably earnest underdog energy. His Seymour is a reimagining of Jonathan Hayes' original character, where Hayes' Seymour was specifically ethnic, rooted in the Jewish working-class Skid Row milieu. Moranis' Seymour is more universal in his nerdiness. He's the awkward everyman of 1980s comedy, the guy who's trying very hard and somehow never quite succeeds. What Moranis brought to the role that the musical required was something Hayes' film didn't need: the ability to carry a musical number. And carry them he does. His voice isn't the most powerful instrument in the world, but it has the earnestness that fits Seymour perfectly. The technical challenge was that the scenes with the large Audrey 2 were filmed at either 12 or 16 frames per second, the counts vary slightly, instead of the normal 24, so that when sped up to normal playback speed, the giant puppet's movement would look fluid. This meant that Moranis had to act and lip sync in deliberate slow motion and trust that it would work at normal speed. He nailed it.
Don't tell me about it, stupid. Just swallow it.
Ellen Greene, Audrey. Ellen Greene reprised her stage role, and this is one of the most significant continuity decisions in musical film history. She was the only member of the original off-Broadway cast to join the film. Oz said of her, "I couldn't imagine any other Audrey, really. She nailed that part for years off-Broadway." Greene's film Audrey is different from the original film's Audrey in fundamental ways. The 1960 Audrey is cheerful and naive, but not particularly damaged. The musical's Audrey, and Greene's cinematic version, carries an enormous weight of damaged self-image. She's trapped with an abusive boyfriend who she thinks she deserves. She genuinely doesn't believe she's worth more. And the song Somewhere That's Green lays this all out with heartbreaking specificity. She dreams of a suburban life so ordinary it would be boring to anyone who didn't come from where she comes from, and to her, it's paradise. Greene's speaking voice is a deliberate choice. Breathy, slightly squeaky, projecting fragility. And when she sings, the instrument underneath the fragility reveals itself, and it's powerful. The contrast between the speaking voice and the singing voice is part of the character. Cyndi Lauper was the studio's first choice. A side note, I actually thought it was Cyndi Lauper for a long time. She expressed strong interest but couldn't commit due to her schedule. Madonna was rumored to have been considered. Yeah, good thing they passed. History is right that neither of them got the role. That's correct.
I don't have a middle name. Well, you have an appointment, maybe?
No, but you were very highly recommended to me by one of your patients, Mrs. S. Shiva. I do a lot of undertaking for her relatives.
Well, as you can see, I have a customer now.
The stage musical didn't have a masochistic dental patient. The Nicholson character from the original film had been cut. Frank Oz and Howard Ashman added one back in the film, renamed Arthur Denton, as a knowing nod to the Corman original. But first, the dentist himself. Steve Martin as Dr. Orrin Charavello, DDS, a sadistic, nitrous oxide-addicted biker dentist who abuses Audrey, is one of the great comedy performances of the 1980s. Martin spent approximately 6 weeks filming this role. That's a long time for a character who doesn't survive the second act, and he used every day of it. Martin's ideas were characteristically committed. He contributed having Orrin punch the nurse in the face. Originally he was going to knock her out with a motorcycle helmet. Ripping the head off a little girl's doll in the waiting room. The specific physicality of a man who is both a professional and a sociopath. Tim Curry and Gene Wilder were both considered for the role before Martin was cast. The dental equipment Martin used in his scenes appears in Tim Burton's Batman, 1989, specifically in the scene where the Joker, played by Jack Nicholson, who made his debut in the original Little Shop, has his face worked on. Both films shot at Pinewood Studios. The props traveled from one film to the other, connecting the whole lineage. And while we're connecting lineages, Jack Nicholson, who played the masochistic dental patient in the original 1960 film, played the Joker, who ends up in the dental chair that had been used by Steve Martin, who played the dentist in a musical remake of Nicholson's film. The universe has a sense of humor. Bill Murray, Arthur Denton, masochistic patient. Bill Murray's casting as Arthur Denton, the masochistic dental patient, who gets excited about the prospect of dental pain, caused a notable behind-the-scenes skirmish. Murray was cast by David Geffen, who requested him specifically. Frank Oz's objection wasn't to Murray, but to the process. Geffen had signed Murray without consulting Oz, which violated an agreement between the director and producer that all casting decisions would be made together. Oz was annoyed. Casting stayed. And Murray, because Murray improvised almost all his dialogue once Arthur Denton got in the dentist chair, the scripted lines were in the waiting room. Once the dental torture started, he just went wherever he went. The scene works because of the dynamic between Martin and Murray, the dentist who wants to cause pain and the patient who wants to receive it. Discover that they are fundamentally incompatible. Warren can't enjoy inflicting pain on someone who enjoys it. Arthur Denton ruins all his fun. Murray later recalls that when he got the role, he was financially comfortable enough after Ghostbusters that he'd been considering retirement from acting. He was currently not ready to retire quite yet.
Well, goodbye, Dr. Farr. You may have been a crummy dentist, but you were a nice fella. I never meant to kill anybody in my whole life. I've killed 2 in the last 2 days. Well, but you asked for it coming after me with that knife and all. Fun voyage, Dr. Farr.
The plant is, in both the stage musical and the 1986 film, the hardest part of the production. In the stage version, Martin P. Robinson's Muppets range from tiny seedling versions to full-scale monsters requiring multiple operators. For the film, Oz brought in Lyle Conway as the plant designer. Conway had previously worked with Oz on The Muppet Show, The Dark Crystal, and The Great Muppet Caper. The animatronic and fabrication team included many of the same people who had worked on The Creatures and Labyrinth. The largest version of Audrey 2 required up to 60 people to operate simultaneously. 60 for one puppet plant. That's more people than were involved in the entire production in the 1960 film. Getting the plant's mouth to move convincingly for dialogue scenes and musical numbers was the central technical challenge. Conway and Oz struggled with it for a long time. We kept trying and it didn't work, Oz recalled. Eventually they cracked it, and the result is a puppet that moves with genuine character that seems to have personality and intent that you believe might actually eat someone. For the small versions of Audrey 2, designer Conway modeled the plant's lips after Ellen Green's. This detail is both wonderfully weird and entirely keeping with the Seymour Audrey 2 emotional triangle at the center of the story. The voice of Audrey 2 in the film is provided by Levi Stubbs, the lead singer of the Four Tops, whose career spanned from Motown classics to this particular man-eating plant. Stubbs was given freedom to interpret the character, and his performance is enormous and funky and perfect. It's exactly the voice you want coming from a carnivorous extraterrestrial plant with bold domination ambition.
Oh, boy, look at that.
Hi, everybody. Oh, my gosh.
Ain't it something?
It's monstrosity.
Yeah.
And to think that you did it.
Gee, Audrey, you don't have to kiss me.
Don't you like me to kiss you?
Yeah, but
The 1960 film and the 1986 musical film are recognizably the same story, but they are tonally and thematically different in important ways. The tone. The 1960 film is darker, stranger, less sentimentalized. Its Skid Row is genuinely grainy. Characters are genuinely compromised. The dark comedy has an edge to it, an authenticity that comes from Griffith and Corman's willingness to just let the awful stuff be awful. The 1986 film is warmer, more musical comedy in its sensibility, and the moments of darkness are framed by the genre conventions of the Hollywood musical in a way that makes them feel safer. The plant's origin. The 1960 plant is a botanical accident. Seymour created it by cross-pollinating different species. The musical adds a science fiction dimension. The plant is alien in origin, seed that arrived during a solar eclipse. This changes the moral stakes. Seymour didn't create a monster, he found one. He is corrupted by an external force rather than by something he made. Audrey's character. As noted above, the 1960 Audrey is pleasant and uncomplicated. The 1986 Audrey carries damage and self-worth issues. The musical turns her into one of the thematic centers of the story. Will she realize she deserves better? Will Seymour be the person who shows her? Or in The Dentist. In the 1960 film, the dentist is incompetent and dies accidentally. In the musical, he is Audrey's abusive boyfriend, which deepens the story considerably. I would say that he accidentally dies in the '86 movie as well, considering the fact that he literally inhales like nitrous oxide until he like dies of asphyxiation. So again, I don't think it was intentional, nor was it Seymour actively killing him. It connects the plant's first real murder to something emotionally meaningful rather than just plot mechanics. Seymour's art. Both Seymours are fundamentally good people who get in over their heads. But the 1986 Seymour has a much more active romantic plotline and clearer arc of corruption. In the original, Seymour's decisions are more passive. Things happen to him. In the musical, he makes choices. He feeds people to the plant. He has a gun. He pulls the trigger, or tries to. The musical takes his culpability more seriously. The ending. This is the big one.
What did it eat this time?
Well, about 1 million Japanese beetles.
So don't eat no more.
It's full.
Gravis! There's a lady from some kind of a commitment outside. I think it's important.
Excellent. By the by.
The stage musical ends the way the original film ends. Essentially, Audrey is eaten by the plant. Seymour is eaten by the plant. Audrey too wins. And in the final moments, there's a twist. The plant has been propagating. Little Audrey 2s are popping up all over the world, hinted at, implied to be taking over. The Faust bargain is complete. The cautionary tale about feeding the thing that eats you has reached its logical conclusion. For the film, Oz and Ashman initially shot this ending. They shot it with elaborate miniature work, giant Audrey 2s rampaging through the streets, crushing buildings, full-scale kaiju-level plant apocalypse set to the cut song Don't Feed the Plant. By some estimates, $5 million was spent producing this entire original ending. David Geffen had warned Oz and Ashman from the beginning that the dark ending wouldn't work. He told them a story. Risky business had originally ended on a bleak note and tested terribly with preview audience. The studio had forced a new ending. Geffen thought the same thing would happen here. Oz and Ashman disagreed. They shot the dark ending anyway. And then they screened it for test audience. I had lost some perspective, Oz later admitted. The dark ending, which worked perfectly in a theater where Audrey and Seymour could literally take a bow at the end, didn't translate to film. On stage, when the characters die in Act 2, the actors walk out for their curtain call and everyone understands the contract. In a movie, when the characters you followed for 90 minutes are eaten by a plant and the plant wins, there is no curtain call. There's no bow. There's just credits rolling over destroyed New York. Test audiences were not confused. They were devastated and then angry. The darkness they had cheerfully accepted in the theater felt like a betrayal in the cinema. Warner Brothers threatened to shelve the film. Oz and Ashman sat down and rewrote the ending. They shot a new ending in which Seymour defeats the plant, Audrey survives, they move to the suburbs, domestic happiness. In the final shot, a tiny Audrey 2 sprouts in the garden, a subtle hint that everything is not entirely resolved, the alien plant not entirely defeated, but the leads are alive and together. The original ending's Patrick Martin character, a licensing executive who offers a mass-produced Audrey 2s, was played by Paul Dooley in the dark version. When reshoots were needed, Dooley wasn't available, and Jim Belushi stepped in as Martin for the new ending. The $5 million dark ending sat in a vault. The reshoots pushed the film's release from summer of '86 to December of '86. In 1998, when the film was first released on DVD, a black and white work print version of the dark ending, duplicated from director Oz's personal VHS, was included as a bonus feature. It was quickly pulled from shelves. Then, in 2012, Oz restored and released the completed director's cut with the dark ending, fully realized in color. It won a Saturn Award in 2013. Today, both versions exist. The theatrical version is the more emotionally satisfying film. The director's cut is the more thematically coherent one. And you can argue endlessly about which is right.
Dr. Flynn's cough syrup. A toast?
To Audrey Jr.
No, to Audrey Sr.
The 1986 film is stacked with talent beyond its leads. Vincent Gardenia as Mushnik. Gardenia was a serious actor with Tony Award credentials, playing Mushnik as a genuinely conflicted man rather than a pure buffoon. He was convinced, he said, that Oz had hired him because Oz liked his name. Gardenia is a flower. Gardenia couldn't get through scenes with Rick Moranis without laughing. John Candy as Wink Wilkinson, the DJ for radio station WSKID. Candy is wonderful in his brief screen time, bringing the wholesome enthusiasm he brought to everything. And his connection to Steve Martin, they'd made Planes, Trains, and Automobiles the following year, and Rick Moranis, they'd made Ghostbusters, made the film feel like a comedy summit. Christopher Guest is the first customer to notice Audrey too. Guest had just completed his one-season run on Saturday Night Live and had recently appeared in This is Spinal Tap. He is in the film for about 30 seconds and is completely memorable. Tachina Arnold and Tisha Campbell, among others, as Crystal, Ronette, and Chiffon, the Greek chorus girl group Narrated. Both went on to significant television careers. The film was, for its moment, an extraordinary concentration of comedic talent.
Open it is.
Feed me.
I didn't hear it.
Feed me.
I heard it.
I want food.
A talking plant we got.
I'm hungry.
No. Hungry. And other fine kettle and fish. Who would you like to have?
Little Shop of Horrors has been continuously produced, revived, filmed, and adapted for over 60 years. This doesn't happen by accident. The story works because it's about something universal dressed up as a creature feature. It's about what we're willing to feed our ambitions. Seymour wants recognition. He wants love. He wants escape from Skid Row. And there's a plant that will give him all those things, if only he's willing to keep feeding it. The plant is the bargain you make with the devil. The plant is every compromise you know you shouldn't make, but make anyway because the alternative is staying exactly where you are. It's about complicity. Mushnik knows, he says nothing. He benefits. The whole neighborhood benefits from Seymour's plant. The whole community looks away from what's being done down in the shop's basement because the shop is doing so well. This is satire about more than just a flower shop. It's about love as a motivation for destruction. Seymour doesn't do these things for himself. Ultimately, he does them for Audrey, for the chance to be someone she could love. The horror is that the love is real, and it makes the horror worse, not better. Howard Ashman understood all of this. He made it legible. Alan Menken made it sing. Frank Oz made it move. And Roger Corman, 30 years before any of them, made the accidental, chaotic, drunk, beautiful mess that started the whole chain. A 2003 Broadway revival ran for 372 performances. A 2019 off-Broadway revival is still running at the time of this writing. Regional theater productions happens every year in every city. High schools across the world perform it. And Corman, who lived to see everything that grew from his 2 days and 1 night of filmmaking, reportedly found the whole trajectory deeply, absurdly satisfying. He spent a career as the king of the bees, and then a B-movie he didn't bother to copyright became a Broadway show, became a Hollywood musical with Bill Murray and Steve Martin, became a cultural institution. He passed away in May 2024. The man who didn't copyright his best film outlived almost everyone who had ever done it.
Try something? I never tried anything in my life. I wouldn't try anything now. You want my money? Take it. You want I should go out and steal you some more? That's all right, too. I'll do it.
Thank you very much. I like your brand of hospitality.
You'll excuse it isn't more. I'm only a poor florist.
Yeah. We got about $30 here. Come on now. Where's the rest of it? I was in here this afternoon. I saw about 30,000 people in here. They must have spent some...
And no discussion of Little Shop of Horrors is complete without acknowledging what happened to Howard Ashman after. After the success of the musical and the 1986 film, Ashman and Menken were recruited by Disney to help revitalize their animated film division. What followed was nothing less than the Disney Renaissance. The Little Mermaid, 1989, Beauty and the Beast, 1991, and work begun on Aladdin. During the production of The Little Mermaid, Howard Ashman discovered he was infected with HIV. He continued working. He completed Beauty and the Beast while his health was declining, writing lyrics that knew and communicated something about what it felt like to be running out of time. Howard Ashman died on March 14, 1991. He was 40 years old. Beauty and the Beast was dedicated to his memory. Disney President Jeffrey Katzenberg said, Howard Ashman gave a mermaid her voice. He gave a beast his soul, and he gave an orphan girl a mother's love. In a very real sense, he gave the world The Little Mermaid, Beauty and the Beast, and Aladdin. Perhaps he gave us even more of himself than any of us will ever know. The words he wrote, the songs he crafted, the structural intelligence by which he approached every story he touched, it all came from the same place. The same Baltimore kid who watched a cheap horror movie on TV and recognized something in it that nobody else had seen.
Boy, what I did. I don't care about you got at the date with Audrey tonight. I am no more sitting up with that no-good Nick plant.
But gee, Mr. Mushnick, you don't have to sit up with it anymore. It's all grown up now.
Excellent, smart guy. How do you know it don't be hungry no more?
Well, because...
Tonight you are staying. Then tomorrow they're coming and they're going to give you a...
We began with a 1960 film, and we need to end it there. Roger Corman's The Little Shop of Horrors is in the public domain. This is documented, established, legally litigated, and clear. The copyright was not renewed. Under the Copyright Act of 1909, which governed works published before January 1st, 1978, the initial copyright term lasted 28 years. To protect continued protection, copyright holder was required to renew within that window. Corman's production company did not renew. The copyright expired. The film entered the public domain. This is confirmed in actual court proceedings in a 1990s legal dispute between musical rights holder Shop Talk and Menken versus Concord, the successor to the film's copyright. The court established that the copyright in the film was not renewed. It expired in 1988 and the film entered the public domain. Wikimedia Commons lists the determination as no copyright due to missing copyright notice. The Internet Archive hosts the film freely and clearly, public domain, as copyright was not renewed. The 1960 film belongs to everyone. Anyone can watch it, share it, clip it, discuss it, broadcast it, remix it, and love it without permission from anyone. This is not a loophole. This is a copyright law functioning exactly as intended, protecting works for a limited time and then returning it to the culture that produced it. If you're hosting this film and you received a copyright claim on it, that claim is unfounded. There is no valid copyright to enforce. The film belongs to the public domain, and no corporate entity, regardless of how far back in the chain they can trace their AIP or film group successor rights, can claim ownership of a work that was never properly copyrighted in the first place, or whose copyright lapsed without renewal. Watch it freely, share it freely, love it freely. It's yours.
Butter and jelly, what does that cure?
Nothing. It's just a food.
Well, what good is it if it doesn't clear up pimples or shrink your sinus tissues or something?
You're just being silly, Seymour. Seymour, what do you want to be?
Well, I want to grow things. If I had a lot of money, I'd go to the South Seas where they grow the most fabulous plants in the world.
Well, that sounds exciting.
Yeah.
I'd like to go to the South Seas, too.
There's no reason why you couldn't go.
Would you take me with you, Seymour?
Oh, I couldn't very well go without you, Audrey.
Why not?
Oh, because I'm in love with you, Audrey.
Oh, I'm in love with you, too, Seymour.
Feed me.
What'd you say?
I was just kidding.
I'm hungry.
Seymour.
I didn't mean it.
Why did you say it?
Oh, food.
You didn't even say that.
Oh, yes, I did. I said it.
Oh, I'm looking right at you.
I'm a ventriloquist.
You're what?
A ventriloquist.
Feed me.
Seymour, do you feel all right?
Well, I don't know. I'm not sure.
Well, then stop all this nonsense and kiss me.
I'm dying from hunger.
All right, if you're so hungry, eat something, but forget about me.
Gee, I'm sorry, Audrey.
Give me to eat.
If you can't control yourself, I'm going home.
I need some chow.
Oh.
An empty stomach.
Audrey, please wait. Listen to me.
I've listened to all the nonsense I want to hear, Seymour. You're a nut. You tell me that you love me, and then you act like a complete idiot.
Please listen, Audrey. I'll be able to explain everything soon.
Well, why can't you explain now?
Because so many things are so important. I want to marry you, but I got to take care of Mom. Well, that plant in there is going to make it all come true. Tomorrow they're going to give me a trophy, and I'll be famous. I'll be a big botanist. And then we can go to the South Seas, just like we planned and all.
But that doesn't have anything to do with what went on in there. When you're ready to come to your senses, Seymour, then I'll talk to you. Good night, Seymour.
I'm getting pretty tired of you.
I need food.
I don't care what you need. Look what you done to me. You not only made a butcher out of me, but you drove my girl away.
Shut up and bring on the food.
Don't tell me to shut up. You shut up. Who raised you from a bunch of little seeds? Who fed you all them high-class fertilizers and sat up all night with you when you were sick? Nobody else would have done that for you. Do you think anybody else would have brought you human beings to eat? You're darn right they wouldn't. Well, I've helped you, and you've helped me. Now shut your trap and go to sleep. I'm tired.
Krellboy, turn around. Close your eyes. You are asleep. Open your eyes. Now you will do as I say. Do you follow me?
Yes, Master.
You will go out and find me some food.
Yes, Master.
Now be gone and waste no time.
My name is Leonora Clyde. How's the rain on the rhubarb?
Master is hungry.
Well, hello there.
I gotta find food for Master. Food I gotta find for Master. For Master, I gotta find food.
Maybe I can help.
Who are you?
My name is Leonora Clyde. I love you.
Master wants food.
Let the old goat wait. The night is young, and so are we.
Master doesn't eat goat.
Well, what kind of food does he like? Ooh! That's more like it. Kiss me. What's the matter? Don't you like me?
Too bony.
Too bony? Nobody ever told me that before.
Beef is better than veal.
Ah, you're such a dodo. What do you call this? Chopped liver?
Master would like more fat.
Speak for yourself, John.
My name is Seymour.
My name is Seymour.
That's my name, too.
Are you interested, or are you just wasting my time?
I never thought anybody would volunteer. Do you volunteer?
Sure I do.
All right, if you're sure you want to volunteer.
All right, my place or yours?
I don't care.
Well, flip a coin.
I don't have a coin.
Flip anything, silly.
Well, there's a rock. Wet or dry?
Wet.
The search was narrowing, and we knew that soon we would have the killer. Not that we had any more clues than before, but we had to tell the chief something. I had that feeling in my bones that the mystery was drawing to its climax, and I was determined to be on hand.
All right, out. Nobody is in. Today we have a special occasion for Seymour Krelboyne, which has invented the big plan. So I want everybody should please stay out of the way.
We want Seymour! We want Seymour! We want Seymour!
I tell you, this business is worse than being a conductor in a revoluting door. I'll be glad when this day is finished.
What's the celebration?
They're presenting my son with the trophy.
Yeah, what'd he do, run away from home?
Please don't look at me that way, Audrey. I want to talk to you.
I'm sorry, Seymour. I just don't understand you.
I'll explain everything after the ceremony.
You, police, what are you doing here?
Heard there was something going on here this evening.
Just thought we'd come by and keep an eye on things.
Look, we don't need no eyes kept on nothing.
Everything. The Society of Silent Flower Observers has arrived, and sunset is almost upon us.
Welcome, lady and gentlemen. We are honored for to have you.
Still working on those disappearances.
We think they were murdered.
Hey, look here, young man. That's no way to talk at a time like this. Let me see your tongue. Uh-huh. Now, what you got?
Just the facts, ma'am.
Trench mouth. I know. I had it back in '09.
Better have that looked into, Frank.
Whatever you say, Joe.
Mr. Krelboyne, the sun is going down now, and you do think those buds are going to open?
I hope so.
Because if they don't, Mr. Krelboyne, we shall just have to present the award at another time.
Oh, it's starting to open.
Isn't that Mark? Oh, look, the first bud is open.
Isn't that
the railroad cop? Look at the rest. What do you think, Frank?
They're all there, Joe.
Yes, you're right. Mr. Krelboyne, how do you explain this?
I didn't mean it. That's right, officer. He didn't mean to kill them.
Seymour, you promised you'd explain.
Looks like they're getting away, Joe.
Yes, you're right. Let's catch him.
Right.
Oh, now the float will be perfect. Yeah.
You wouldn't find him here with the toilets. Let's go back.
You dirty rat plant, you messed up my whole life.
Feed me!
I'll feed you. I'll feed you like you never been fed before.
Better to give up, gentlemen. You wouldn't find him tonight.
Look, the door's open, Frank. Oh.
He was such a good boy. Seymour!
I didn't mean it.
Two days and one night. Two drunk guys in a room. A set that was being torn down in the morning. A movie that one man didn't copyright because he figured it would make its money and disappear. A musical that ran 2,209 performances and broke every off-Broadway record. A Hollywood film that spent $5 million on an ending nobody got to see for 26 years. A story still being performed right now, tonight, somewhere in the world. Feed me. Roger Corman made a lot of films. He made them fast. He made them cheap. He made them with everything he had. He launched the careers of Francis Ford Coppola, Martin Scorsese, James Cameron, Ron Howard, and Jack Nicholson, among dozens of others. He was the Pope of pop cinema, the king of the bees, the most efficient filmmaker who ever lived. And his greatest achievement was a film he made in 2 days by accident and then forgot to copyright. That's The Little Shop of Horrors, and it's open for business forever. Like, comment, subscribe. Thank you for joining us here on SL Tonight, as SL Tonight presents. Good night.